Some voices don't just speak, they echo across lifetimes. Welcome to Whispers to Wisdom, the podcast where we explore the untold stories behind extraordinary soul-led lives. And in today's episode, I'm joined by none other than the amazing TJ Higgs, international spiritual mentor and medium, best-selling author, and one of the stars of Psychic Detectives, and one of the most respected mediums of our time. With over 25 years of experience, TJ opens up about her incredible journey from her earliest spiritual awakenings to working alongside the legendary Colin and Tony Stockwell and forming deep, lifelong bonds that shaped her path. But this episode goes even deeper. We talk about intuition, grief, healing, and even how she's bringing spiritual wisdom to life for children through her beautiful book. If you've ever wondered what it really takes to walk the path of a medium, or how the whispers from beyond can become a lifelong purpose, this conversation is one that you will not forget. So let's step into the wisdom together. Well, I'm just sitting here chatting to TJ Higgs, psychic medium, and if you haven't heard about her, you really should look for her on Facebook, on TikTok. She's everywhere. Have a look on her website. And I just want to say thank you, TJ, for joining me today. So, when I thought about asking if you'd be on me podcast, if you'd be a guest, because I've been to a few of your DEMs and I've done your workshop, and your knowledge of the spirit world, of the mechanics, I found really, really, really outstanding. But not only that, I find you intriguing because you've done so much.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I think there's a lot of females who are known in mediumship. Mavis Patilla for one. But I think out of all of them, I think you're the one that's managed to get it out into the spotlight as much with your books, with your podcast, with your trainings, theatre work, TV work, and I think that you've done so much for mediumship, spiritualism. And I think that, that is a blessing. I really do. And one thing that, because I've seen your work and amazing. And one little thing I want to say to you is the last time I seen you, you came to me, you didn't know who I was, you didn't remember us nothing. And you had said, you brought us a lot of things through. You'd said about Jimmy Somerville. Somerville's my surname.
Yeah.
You brought me dad through, Billy, and you had said, did he like Abbott and Costello? Yeah. My dad was Billy Costello. He played darts. Yes, he did. He played darts up to he played with John Lowe, he played with Eric Bristow, he played with all of those. Yeah. And also you mentioned about a lung x-ray.
Okay.
From the spirit side.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing was, I had said to my partner before that he was down south, and I said, if I can, I'll try and get you on WhatsApp so you can just hear a little bit. In the message that you gave about a lung x-ray, I could understand that it came from spirit down over into the message. And then yesterday there was something happened, and the lung x-ray is now just being put in this morning, and it's being made tomorrow. So I've got to say, there's your feedback from me. It was absolutely spot on. But there must have been a time where you didn't trust spirit.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that to me. When did you? By the way, thank you for having me, and I'm so excited because I love you, because you're just a beautiful star yourself.
Thank you.
So I think like yourself, there just gets to a point where you you can't not trust anymore, you know. And every time I work, every time I stand on a platform, a stage, wherever, the message from spirit is very clear with me, and and they're not kind of really kind and fluffy. It's like, just get out of our way. That's what I'm told. Just get out of the way. And I think, you know, I used to, as you know, I used to work on stage with like Colin Fry, and I'd be standing side of stage, and this incredible man was working with spirit. And then I'd be like, I've got to go out there in a minute. And I would have tears in my eyes because I'd be so scared, because I didn't want to let spirit down or Colin down and all that stuff. And I used to have makeup at the side of the stage so that I could do my makeup again, because I'd be crying. And I wish I knew the day it happened, but just one day it just changed. And if they told me to tell you now that, you know, that I needed to tell you melon or whatever it is, I will say it. And that's how I teach. It's like, say whatever they tell you. Don't get in the way. Don't interpret. Just say it, you know. And I'm, you know, and I am very grateful for my work, you know, and I find I am blessed. I'm blessed to meet people like yourself, you know, when we've met up. I just think you can't even put it into words how lucky I am, you know, to be able to do. I don't work, do I? I work for spirit, but, you know, they always say find something that gives you passion and pleasure and happiness, and doing this work is all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, and as you mentioned there, you know, and I know what you're saying, but can I say your gratitude to spirit does show, because I always believe that the more grateful you are, the more opportunities happen and the better you work as well. And so I believe that, you know, and I've seen your work, and I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, oh, you're fantastic, or like this, even though I could quite easily, but, you know, your gratitude, it shows through in your work, you know, and there must be some funny times and funny things that you've seen.
So many. So many. How long have we got? Oh my God!
I know.
And just saying that, one came to mind. You know, as they know, they obviously knew what questions you're going to say. So I was working. I think it was Sheffield, but I was definitely up northish, which I love working up because the warmth that you get. Sorry, I know I'm a southerner, but you always get more warmth the higher you go. And and I was given a message to a lady. It's just come completely back to me. It was kind of like the TV show, do you know, Jeremy Kyle? It was a little bit like and it was it kind of started like that. Do you know, there's almost like a theme sometimes through a theatre night, and this night it was Jeremy Kyle. So I was like, oh, who's coming next? And it was a dad, and he was talking to his daughter, and she needed her taps fixed. So she'd employed this guy to go around and do her taps and whatever. And she was like, how does he know that? What else does he know? And as she said that, I was like, I can see it really made me nervous. And that's probably why I remember it. I saw a man like climbing in a window, and I was like, you've been burgled. Do you know, I said, your dad's showing like it wasn't a prediction. You've been burgled. Yeah. And then I saw that man sitting on her sofa. And I was like, he's still in your house. It's like, he's burgled you. She went, yeah. She fell in love with the man that burgled her house.
Really?
And it's like, yes, that's like crazy, isn't it? And her dad, and I was like, as the medium, and even as a person, I'm kind of thinking, oh my gosh. But her dad was like, no, he's all right. He's done all right. He just had it, and they was explaining about his life and what had happened to this poor man, you know. But they've you know, they were together. He was living with her.
Well, you know, the thing is, you know, it is amazing what spirit come out, you know, and has there ever, you know, the thing is, we all make mistakes because we're human.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a mistake that you've made? Not like a massive big mistake or nothing like that. Yeah. But has there ever been a message that you've not given because you thought, no, I'm not saying that, and then it still had to come out?
It has to come out as well, doesn't it? 'Cause until you say it, they're not going to give you anything else. But one thing happened to me actually filming the Three Mediums with Colin Fry and Derek Acora, you know. And I was, because we were being filmed, we had 3,500 in the audience, you know, and I'm in this frock that looks like I've just come out of Oliver. I had like that dress on, and it was a designer, don't you know? Awful dress. But anyway, so I'm giving a message, and I thought, because we were being filmed, I then decided to edit what was coming out. Big mistake.
Yeah.
And I said to a lady, and I'm so grateful, because the production team put out my mistake as well, you know, because that's always learning, isn't it? Because we're not perfect. Things, you know, you misinterpret. And this lady, her son had only been passed like about 10 or 12 weeks, and she was in kids. And I said, but he was doing a weird thing about a cat. So I thought, I'm not saying that. I'm being filmed. Goodness sake, I'm not saying that. So I just said, oh, you love cats? And she said, no. I said, you've got cats? No, don't. No. I said, okay, your son is doing this. And he was going, meow, meow. It's not the cat, it's me. And so then I did that. And then she went, yeah, he used to do that all the time. He used to walk around meowing and things. But I'm, in my kind of ego, I'm being filmed. So I'm not going to do this on television. You know, I'm going to, it must be about a cat. And so lesson learned. So now, whether you're in my, if you're in my audience, I will say whatever I get. Yeah, even I outed, and I didn't know, one of my oldest friends, I've known her since like 6, 7 years old, you know, so a very, very long time. And she used to sit circle with me and develop. And I was, again, being filmed for and I don't know, some company wanted to film me anyway. So they're filming this theatre production. And so I'm then talking, and I warn people, and I kind of jokingly say, if you're up to no good, we're being filmed. If you're sitting with someone you shouldn't be, move. You know, like, it's kind of like just my personality. Anyway, her grandma came in, my friend's grandma came in and sneaked in, because I would know her. You know, I would know her. And I was too far gone into it before I realised what was happening. And then I'm talking about this woman she's coming to. Do you know, this grandma who she's coming to has got 2 men on the go, right? and one man everyone knows about, the other guy no one knows about. So anyway, and then my energy is gone, and I'm like, do you understand this? And I'm trying to avoid. I'm going in front of my friends, behind my friends, and anyway, her grandma, and I was like, Victoria, and that's her grandma's name, never forget. And she was like, yes, it's me. And I was like, what? And I was like, and all the girls in the row that, you know, that all come to support me, I'm not expecting a message, just to support me, we're all like looking at her as if no one knew about this. So only Spirit. So Spirit, grandma's outed her while we're filming, and I was like, you need to edit that bit out. You know, we can't have that go out to everybody. But for one of my oldest friends.
That's it. You know, the thing is, Spirit do show everything.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, a little thing that I'll say is, there was once I was in a church, and on the back wall, I don't like to look at the audience. No. I keep my eyes up here, and all I seen was a penis and a penis and a pair of testicles, and I seen it, and then it was above a man's head.
Oh no.
And I looked, and I thought, oh, I'm not talking about that. And then this penis just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I was like, I'm not seeing it. Anyway, in the end, it's almost as though it slapped us in the face. And I did have to say to this man, I says, I've got your granda here, and he could take it all. And then it wouldn't go away. It stayed there, but this time the penis shrunk, and the testicles got bigger, and I was like, oh, not another one. Anyway, give it off. And then there was another one, and I seen it, and it just kept going, Jim. And I could hear it kind of going, Vroom. And I was like, I am not sitting. No, that is it. I'm not sitting anymore. And then on my way home, my friend, I had said to her, goes, your husband, I says, his medication. She went, oh yeah. She says, she's got Brewer's droop. I went, thank the Lord for it. You know, it happens. It's going to come out.
I have a story from Gravesend, very similar, and Gravesend Theatre. And I'll tell you what the people that saw me that evening, they come back again with a blown up banana the second they came to see me. Because the first time they'd see me, this lady, her husband had come through from spirit, and she's got a boyfriend, she's got a new man, and her husband in spirit is talking about the new man. And then he showed me, do you know, like small bananas, do you know, sort of like how, it was all, and I think it was all in the paper at the time about how we were having like these small bananas and EU and all this kind of stuff. So I've obviously read all of that, but he's just showing me this small bunch of bananas. And I'm like, are you a greengrocer? What are you showing me? You know, and then he just took, it was like, then I saw one banana and I'm committed then, like you know, so I'm saying all this stuff. And then suddenly I realized that he then showed me a big bunch of bananas, and he was comparing their anatomy.
Yes.
The new husband or the new partner was the smaller banana.
Yes. Yes.
And there was a group of girls, and they came to see me the next time I was there with blown up bananas. And I was like, I know who you are now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
it is funny what comes through. But you know, the thing is, you've got so many books out as well. About the mediumship, about your story, about your mediumship, about, you know, how you developed.
Yeah.
How did it feel? How did it feel when you put your first book out and it started going off the shelves?
It was quite nerve-wracking, really, because I was invited to Random House, which was like, these things have all happened to me, and I'm like, I'm sitting in Random House with a load of people, and that I had to almost not prove myself. That's not the right way, but you're kind of interviewed by everyone. And I was given a note, and they wanted me to do a little reading at Random House, so go around the table, just psychic though, no spirit. And I was warned not to go to spirit, right? So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I've just got to, anyway. So the man that actually signs the checks, I was in his house and saw the broken windows and the mess, and they've got a new baby. He was happy, gone round the room. But then this lady to the left of me, I hadn't been introduced to her. I wasn't introduced properly to everyone, but she'd come in, now the meeting started. So obviously she was very important. And anyway, I just kept seeing a man stood next to her. And and at the end, I was like, look, I know I'm supposed to say psychic, but there's been this gentleman that's like been leaning over you. So it feels like your dad's very proud of you. Anyway, she burst into tears. And, my editor, Judith, was like, I told you not, you weren't supposed to do that. And I was like, really sorry, but I couldn't help it. Well, I could have been. And I thought, well, you've all let me read you, so you've put yourself in the room with me. And anyway, her father had only passed like 2 days before the meeting. Or worried I was going to upset. Anyway, she cried, but at the end, she said, thank you. And because they were trying to protect her, she was okay with it. She knew she was in a room with a medium. And she's the lady that actually gave me my contract. So,
right.
Yeah. So, but it was nerve-wracking. And it's because I didn't want to write my life story. And even now I kind of, I've got a lot of lovely fans, followers, friends, whatever, people that my community, that's the best way. And they're all like, we love to hear your stories. That's why I'm sort of like rubbish at my podcast, because I get into it and then I'm like, oh, no one wants to listen to me. And then because I wanted to write Signs from the Afterlife. That's the book I had in my head.
Yes.
And they said, no, you've got to write about you. You've got to write Living with a Gift. And I found that really hard. When you write about your life story, it's really cathartic, but it's sort of like you don't remember a lot of things. You have to go back, don't you, and live through your life again. I was listening to Ben Elton talk about that this morning on Lorraine, and some of the things that he was saying, I was like, where have I been? What have I done? And I was like, wow, it does really open it all up. And to be completely honest, I only about 80%, 70% of my life stories out there, because I didn't want people to have everything of me. I found that right. I'm not a celebrity, so they want to share the ins and outs of everything, don't they? So I was nervous of Living with a Gift, because I thought people are going to be like, oh, who does she think she is? It's like, why would I want to read that? But they're all about my journey, and Signs and True Spirit. They're all about my journey. So they are honest, but you don't know everything, because I couldn't share it all. Couldn't. Yeah.
No, and I think I'd agree with you there. But people are nosy.
Yeah.
People are nosy. You know, we're all like to know what's going on and what other people's
Yeah.
journeys are and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen something that you've talked about your menopause journey. You've talked about things like that. You know, so, and you must realise that people want to know about you.
Yes, I think the menopause part. I'm 55, so I'm going through it, you know, and I was doing an event, and I got to know a couple of Dr. I got to know her, and one of my friends had said, "Oh, I'm through the menopause," and I said that in this interview with this beautiful doctor, and she said, "You're never through it. Do you know, even 70-year-olds, you're not through it. It's part of your journey forever." No one ever told us that, did they? Do you know, you think, right, you know, you go through that little bubble and you come out the other side, the weight will come off and you'll carry on. And so that really intrigued me. And then I was interviewed by the Daily Mail, and I'm not, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm not really good at being public, you know, and sort of like, oh, another woman with menopause. Do you know what I mean? But the lady that interviewed me was so great and so like grounded, and she's not going to make me sound like a crazy person, even though I describe myself as a mushroom, because that's how I was. And again, I was nervous about what people are going to think, because I'm a medium. Do you know, I'm not that. And but I tell you, Elaine, I had so many messages from so many women saying thank you, because, you know, they all think you're all glitz and glamour, don't they? Do you know, they don't think that you can't leave your house because you've got anxiety, do you know? And one of the things that was happening over that time, particularly like when I was living in Suffolk, all that beautiful house, everything was beautiful, just me, I just wasn't ready for that. And I would wake up in the morning with anxiety, you know, and I'd say to my husband, I've got anxiety, and he'd be like, what are you anxious about? And you've just woke up, and I'm like, I don't know, this is not me, you know. And then not feeling like I can drive as well, because I'm anxious. And I had to cancel, you know, there's a period of about a year where I would wake up in the morning and think, I can't do today, just can't do it. And I was suffering a lot of migraines, so I was cancelling clients, and then, you know, or rescheduling, and some people had to be rescheduled more than once, and I got a lot of backlash from that as well from my clients, because they're just thinking I'm flaky, and I'm like, you don't want a reading from me today because I'm a mushroom, and and it's not that I don't care, I care, because if I didn't care, I'd rock up, wouldn't I, and just get through it, you know. So if I'm not in that mindset, I won't do my readings. I just won't, because I'd rather you dislike me for not doing it than me just turning up and giving you like 10% and just winning through it. Can't do that to myself, you know.
And that's the thing I think a lot of people don't realise, because the thing is, you get a lot of people who will tell you you're going to be drinking a cup of tea in the next 6 months. You're going to be having a haircut in the next 2 years. And there's nothing to it, because there's no connections there. And them are the ones that will just kind of roll out of bed, feel terrible, feel like crap, and just go out and do it because the money's there. But then you get the ones who really, you know, look after the energy and really put the time in the development, put the time in how they work for the best outcome for the person having the reading. And I think a lot of people don't understand that it does take energy. And it does take looking after your energy to be able to give them the best outcome.
100%. And even like you know, when with a cult, sometimes with a cult, I know sometimes when we're demonstrating, spirit take that off me, don't they? But I just think if you were in a regular job and you were feeling ill, you wouldn't turn up, would you? Do you know, you just wouldn't, because you're not going to be the best. And I would just hate to hurt somebody because I thought, oh, it doesn't matter. You know, I can never approach my mediumship in any way, shape or form that I do it with doesn't matter, because I think I should just stop. If I ever did that, I'd have to just stop, because I couldn't live with myself. I just think, and we do get attacked as mediums, don't we?
Of course we do,
We're always kind of like on the back foot. You know, we get attacked even in the media because we're the woo-woo people, and you know, and our religious beliefs or our spiritual beliefs, you know. So you've got a lot to go through before you even come out of the closet and say, hello, I'm a medium, you know, and be proud about it. You know? And I think if you are going to say that you are a medium, you better be, you better be, because as we both know, there are some people that are working psychically. That your spirit aren't even in the room. If ever a student does that, I can see their relative the other side of the room going, that's not me. That's not me. I'm not guilty.
And yes, I that's my belief as well, that I've always said that if I got to the stage where I couldn't put care into it, and I didn't do it for the love of it, take it away. Take it away. If I ever came over jaded or anything, take it away. And one little thing I'll share with you is I would never accept I was going through, I'd started the menopause. And what would happen was I'd be standing doing demonstrations and things like that, buckets of sweat pouring out of his, and I've seen me stand with doors open, wafting myself in the middle of giving a message, and I've actually, I wouldn't accept it.
No.
And I've said, your dad, he was cremated. Yes, he was. I was like, right, okay then. And I would always say, was the cremated, it must be cremation, until I got so sick of it. I said, right, okay, I'm going through the menopause. Please stop these cremations coming through. Please. And then it stopped. And I was like, right, okay, I've accepted it. Because they're going to get the message through. They're going to get the message through. Plain and simple as that.
I've not had, touch wood, I don't get cold because I'm always hot anyway. I'm always a hot person. But I freeze. I get really, really cold. So I don't mind that bit. I'm not no sweats.
Exactly.
Don't give it to me now.
And I know that you run your mentorships. So how does people get in touch with you? Those who are wanting to develop their mediumship, what are you offering with your mentorships? Where are you?
So I do an online mentorship and an in-person because I've got clients all over the world. So and I try and keep it sort of like we work in the evening, in the UK. Works a lot for my USA or other clients that are around the world. So I do that. I'm starting another one of those in November. So the next one starts, and that's for 6 months with me. And I am one of those teachers that likes to give homework. So you might not see me for a month, but there's challenges and things to do within that month ready for the next class. I write a lot of meditations or visualizations or guidance. I just channel it. They just tell me what I'm doing, and I write that for them. And then I've been working in a church in Derby. Alan Leask is the president, and he was really, I think 3 years ago now, but maybe 2 years ago, invited me to work in his church. And I hadn't been invited really to churches before. And when I go there, they're like, well, we didn't think you worked in a church, So, and I'm like, medium, So Alan kind of set that ball rolling, and we've become very good friends. He's a beautiful man. He's introduced me to some beautiful people. And so I'm going to go to Derby because then I'm central in the UK. And we're allowed to use his church for my venue, so instead of hiring a hotel or something, because then because he doesn't, he's such a beautiful, humble man. He doesn't like payment for when I use the church, and I used it for a workshop. I did a workshop there last year. So at the end, we all put money in the in the bowl. When the bowl comes round, which is a goodwill offering, isn't it? So you cannot say no to that.
Exactly.
We just filled it up with that. It was like, what are you talking? So that will be happening again. And my students that get to come to Derby to train with me it's Saturday and Sunday, because there's such a beautiful community around that church. They'll be coming in for the readings, when we're practicing, and then there's space there for them to do demonstrations. And again, we won't be charging for people to come in, but the donations will all go straight to the church, so it's a way of supporting the church, because they've just been beautiful to me, Alan and Emma, and Pops, as we call him. So so I'm going to be traveling myself up to do it. So if you want to know any of that, send an email, or I think it is on the website. And but if it isn't, just email me. Yeah,
I'll be popping the link on your website in the description as well.
Lovely.
So anyone can get in touch with TJ. All of the links will be in the description. Have a look, check it all out. Or Facebook, check it all out. And I must also just ask you, going back to your books.
Oh, yes.
You know, you've got The Signs from the Afterlife, you've got True Spirit, you've got Living with the Gift,
yes,
Love Never Dies. But I also want to mention Benny's Big Adventure.
Yes.
You know, I know that it's for children, but I bought it for my granddaughter and I've read it to her. And even as an adult.
Yeah. It's gentle, isn't it? I think
it's gentle, but it's powerful.
Yes. And I've got a copy on my desk.
Yes, it's powerful. You know, obviously I'm not going to spoil a story for anyone. But, you know, when I was reading it to my granddaughter, I could feel the lump in my throat.
Yeah. Thank you. That means the way the book came about in True Spirit, I wrote the story of the beetle and the dragonfly, you know, which is quite an old story, but we kind of like rewrote it, you know, in my language. And one of my beautiful students who became a beautiful friend, Denise, she passed. And she survived bone cancer about 7 years. So you know, we were worried for 7 years, and that woman just kept going. She was and so I had the privilege of taking her service for her funeral. So she would like me to do that. So that was always the deal, you know. But you're not allowed to go yet. So I went to the, you know, was taking the funeral, and she's got lots of little grandchildren. And they were all sort of in the front row. And I was reading the beetle and the dragonfly story for everybody, you know, so because it translates to the kids. And like you say, the beetle and the dragonfly the whole congregation will understand what I'm talking about, you know. And then finished there. And I went to Cornwall. That's where she lived. So I went to Cornwall, and we used to call her our Cornish mermaid, you know. And I just had it in me that it just came over me one day that I needed to write that for children. It needed to become a children's book. So I sat with Spirit, and I made it, as you said, it is for children. And you can see, like, it's got like the little, you know, the Pixar kind of dragonfly, you know, that was made for me. And the pictures in there are all pretty cute. Look,
they're lovely.
And it's quite visually a visual experience as well, isn't it? You know, and so I dedicated that to Denise as well, you know, and I'm so proud. It went in at number 2 in the Amazon bestseller list, you know. So I didn't do it for that. I did it for whoever can find it will find it. And and I know we didn't get to say this before we came on, but I'd like to give, if one of your listeners, I'd like to gift one to them. So if they follow you and share this, then we can send them one, can't we? You know.
Well, I'm gonna add the link for the Benny Big's Adventures into the description, because it is aimed at kids, but everyone's a big kid, and it really I had a few tears. You know, I was reading it, and my granddaughter, she's just coming up 2.5, and I'd read so much, and then she wanted to go and get her yum-yums, and I was going, no, Ruby, I says, come back, come on, look, you know, and she sat back down. It is, my daughter's even read it, and she says, Mum, that's lovely. I says, I know it is. So it's, you know, can I say, you're so blessed in life, because of what you do, but not just because of what you do, because of who you are. And that's the difference. You know, I think you can tell when people are motivated.
Oh, I definitely am. I love being with people. I love inspiring. I love teaching. You know, whenever I teach, you know, some people are really nervous or however they're feeling, you know, and the trust always comes up. But there's nothing better than have a student sort of like feel that they're not worthy as well, because some teachers, unfortunately, will like put people to one side, won't they? Or go and do this, or go. you've got to bring the best out, and
Exactly.
the clone kind of way of working is not my way at all. I want
No.
everyone to see that their gifts, their life, their language, their vocabulary is for spirit as well, and they are just as worthy. And I never put myself above any other medium,
No.
So you could be on your first message from spirit or your 1,000th. We're all in the same line as far as
yeah.
And the more of us that stay in, like, join this line, the better, where people think, oh, I'm not going to talk to that one, or I'm not, I don't like all that stuff, I stay away.
No, and the thing is I always, it's like, for example, years ago I was in an open circle. I walked in, and I went to go to the open circle, and there was two mediums there who I saw as being up here,
right?
And I thought, well, I'm not going to be giving a message tonight. And I thought I should have went elsewhere. And in one of those mediums, me and him actually got together, and we've been together for 11, 12 years now, and longer actually. And I told him this. I says, I was intimidated by you when I says, and he was horrified. Yeah. And I went, it's not your issue, it's my issue. I says, it's not your issue. I says, nothing you done. I says, but it's my issue. And it was my confidence.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's,
if you give confidence immediately, like I was teaching last night, I've got an in-person circle. And when I tell people I have an in-person circle, they're like, you do an in-person circle? It's like, yeah, I'm a medium, and I love to train, and the beauty, I think the person who runs it, who, it's my responsibility.
The
person that sits in my room feels that they are adequate, they are worthy, and spirit love them, and we've got like people that have just started giving incredible messages because it's the energy in the room. Every time someone stands, everybody wants them to do well, and we have like a WhatsApp group, as most people do. And if one of them falls down or is not poorly or whatever, the others all come and pick them up, and that's, and I have to say, the TJ community is like that. It's I do an event every year. It's my 10th year next year. And it's enter as strangers, leave as friends. And everyone that comes, that you get the nervous ones. We've had some men that have come that they start as muggles, and now they're training as mediums. They've felt safe, and I think your environment that you as the teacher bring is the environment that's going to be shared. And I believe, I really do believe, and I say this to my students a lot, I believe spirit watch. They watch me teach. If I was sitting there thinking, oh God, it's Wednesday night, I could be sitting at home. Then I'm going to be, I believe I'll be punished. Next time I go to work, they'll be like, yeah, well, you couldn't be bothered then. We can't be bothered now. That's how I.
And that's it. And how many times has it been proven? You can't say that, because I dare say that you haven't ever sat there and said, I can't be bothered.
No. And I think if I stopped in-person circles, obviously we had COVID, didn't we? And pre-COVID, I was traveling to Japan like 3 times a year working there. So I was abroad for a lot. And but then I did a reading last August, I think it was, for this lovely lady, and we call her Peanut. She has, most people got a nickname, like you. I call you Jimmy. Most people I love and care about get a little nickname from me. And little Peanut. And I was doing the reading, and I said, oh, you need to find a circle. I don't want to do it because I do an online one as well. Of all the global community. And so she said, no, I want it in person. So I said, do you know what? I have been thinking about that. And I just moved to a new village, and they had a village hall. And I said, but it might not be free on the days. I said, Wednesday is probably the only day, because I'm normally on tour Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, I like to have Tuesday, I do my online circle. So she went, it'll be free. Before I'd even started training her. Anyway, message the village hall. Yes, it's free on Wednesdays. And we started last September, and we haven't looked back. And we had like August off. I'm trying to be nice to myself and sort of have a month. No, I can't do that again. I could maybe have 2 weeks off, but I can't not have you all for 4 weeks because we all missed each other. And isn't that beautiful? That's a space. And then I said to Spirit, then I would really like my own space to leave my teaching tools, you know, and all that stuff. And there was somewhere I wanted, but it just wasn't ever available. And I spoke to a lady that's on the same site and said, if ever that, you know, a space comes available, please message me. And again, August, I got a message, someone's moving out. They've been there for 15 years. So you can tell that when you when you rent at this space, is longevity, isn't it? You know, and and she said it's free if you want. I walked in, met these beautiful people, and then opened a studio in September. So I've got my own space now to work from. So I started in-person one-to-ones again because I hadn't done them since COVID, you know. So and it was a little bit like, oh, you know, I'm used to doing it like this, which is twice as much energy, as you know. Do you know, when you work online, you have to double up, don't you? And I was sat there for my first client, and I was like, oh gosh, I hope this works. You know, I'm so used to the technology now. And, anyway, and as she sat down, her mum came and stood right behind her, and I was like, okay, it's working. And I'm, you know, clear as day. And I was like, it's working. We're all right. I had a beautiful day with my clients. Beautiful day. Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I'm listening to you, and you know, you're manifesting all of the time. But again, I'm going to say, you know, you're manifesting simply because, you know, I believe that what you put out there comes in. So what you're putting out there is all the beautiful energy, the given energy, and then you're getting your rewards back in ways that are working out for you. You know, the opportunities. You know, it is amazing.
Like you say, I am very lucky, and I just and it's a safe place for me to go, and for my students, and some of my students that you know, are healers as well, because I'm a Reiki master and an angelic Reiki master teacher as well, and they're like, well, there's nowhere to go. And so now, because I'm so busy, I'm only there a couple of days a week, you know. So it's like, there's a space here now that you can come and work in. And they're like, really, you're going to let us? It's like, that's what it's for. It was not just for me, it's for Spirit, and it's for sharing, you know. So I'm really excited for next year when we bring new people in for classes and workshops as well. So that's going to be more work, more busy, but not me working.
No, well, this is it. And you know, when you look back over, I'm not gonna make you sound old and say when you look back over your life, but when you look back over your mediumship journey, the opportunities that have came your way, because you know, you worked with the great Colin Fry, Tony Stockwell, Derek Akora. You know, I went to see Derek 25 years ago, plus years ago. I've still got me photos that I took with them. I've still got me, I think it was a flyer or something. I've still got all of them. You know, those are opportunities that, how did it feel when those opportunities came your way?
Do you know, and it's like, so my first opportunity was, a friend said there was an agency for mediums, and I was like, and I was just doing psychic readings. Like, oh, I don't know. So she went, just go. So I went to this office in Kent, walked in, and this guy was like, oh, you're very photogenic. And I thought, oh, you just chatted me up. So I'm not. And so they took photos of me and said, would you like to join? And I was like, well, they didn't want any money or anything. Like, you know, normally some of these places want your your mortgage. And so I signed up, and then I started working in Spirit and Destiny. You know, and then I got a column in Spirit and Destiny, and I was like, okay. And then I got invited to for Psychic Private Eyes. I got invited to do. I thought I was going to be a guest on Psychic Private Eyes. So when I was actually at the Arthur Findlay College, and I hate doing photo readings in an envelope. I hate it. I try and get out of that class. And I don't often teach it because I feel like I'm punishing my students. So maybe Wednesday though. So I went. Well, I was at the college, so I went to the producer's house and did this trial, you know, for Psychic Private Eyes. And 2 envelopes. I was like, oh, that's a letter. There's a picture in here. And then she appeared at the end of the table. So they allowed one of the crew to sit at the end of the table. So I had someone to talk to, you know, Otherwise, it was just a camera, and I'd never done that before. So I just, I could see Sally Ann Bowman sitting on top of this girl that was sat at the end, and just did all what I had to do, and just thought, oh, that's nice. I might get to be a guest on this TV show, because I'd never really thought about that. I'm not really. I know people don't realise how shy I am, but I'm not very good at being a celebrity person. Do you know what I mean? I don't class myself as a celebrity. I know that. And so then I went from the Arthur Finney College. I went on holiday with my son for a week to Spain. So we were in Spain, and I'm sitting on a beach. My phone's ringing, and then I was invited to go into the office to talk about Psychic Private Eyes, and I was like, yes, I've got a guest slot on Psychic Private Eyes. I was so excited. I thought, oh, brilliant, thank you. So. And I had to demonstrate as well. So just rewind. I was at Tony Stockwell's studio, and he said, "Oh, someone's dropped out, love. There's a space. Do you want to do it? You're not going for the job. He wasn't being rude. You're not going for the job. There's a space." So everyone was all sort of like all these other people that were auditioning, if you like, for the role. Well, I wasn't, and that was August. Must be something about August, mustn't it? And it was really, really hot. So I had a suit in my bag, like a trouser suit and that in my bag. But I walked into Tony's studio in a pair of jeans and a vest top. So you can imagine, I got like the look from the mediums that were auditioning. I got the like that look. Well, they didn't know. I'd gone into the office and, because I was working there at the time. I used to teach there and do readings there. So I've gone into the office, hung my clothes up. And then, so I'm getting the, how jeans and a top. So then I've gone in, got my suit on, come out. And then it was like, oh, okay. Oh, right. She means, but I didn't care. I wasn't there for any reason other than to enjoy the atmosphere and present spirit to this group of people, So everyone else had gone, and then it was like, right, your turn. And so I got up, and I wasn't really used to demonstrating in big rooms or anything. I hadn't really done that. I was more of a sit-down medium, more psychic than anything. Anyway, so spirit were on, and the producers and that were sat in the front row laughing, and they were bringing silly messages in, and it was just, everyone was like, it was just so beautiful. And I just thought, I really enjoyed that. Didn't expect. Then they called, they were like, we need to talk to you. And I was like, no, I wasn't auditioning. So it kind of went on from that, and then came back from Spain, go into London, sitting in the office, and Hilary, who's now in spirit as well, Hilary Goldman, sat there. Craig was there, her husband, and she said, right, we want to talk about Psychic Private Eyes. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. Yes, I can't wait. This is, so she went, so you're on board then? Me thinking, one episode guest. Then Michael Zucker, who was our he was in charge of direction and all the other stuff, putting the show on, basically. He came in and he started talking to me, and he's like, right, okay, this is how it's going to work. And I thought, okay, they're going to tell me what date they need me. Maybe it might be 2 days, I don't know. And he said, so it's going to be a third Colin Fry, a third Tony Stockwell, and the third medium is you. And I sat there, I was like, I'm the third medium, and they were like, yes, so it's you three, Psychic Private Eyes. And I was like, oh my god. And at the time I had lighter hair, but I'd been told, we want to see you with dark hair for the audition, in the house. So I'd come back and dyed my hair a little bit darker, and obviously my name is Tracy. And then Hilary decided, but you're not going to be Tracy with blonde hair. And I was like, okay. She went, you've got to dye your hair dark. And she said, and you're now going to be known as TJ. She said, because we can't have a blonde Tracy with an Essex accent. I'm from North London. We can't have that because it's not serious enough. So then TJ was born. That and I still was like, what? You're mad. I've got no kind of like I've done sort of one of my friends owned Destiny TV. So I did that for a while for her, so that was live. And I am probably just crazy because I've been on live television. I don't care. It doesn't bother. I think it's not my job to worry about all of that. It's my job to do what I'm doing, and you will find me. And that's how I approach all things like that. I just think I'm meant to be here, otherwise I wouldn't be here. And I just crack on, So, and then we were doing the photo shoot for Psychic Private Eyes in a graveyard in Cardiff, and Tony and Colin were doing a show in Cardiff. And so I met them at the hotel afterwards, And Colin had a nice little glass of Chateau Neuf de Pape, his favourite, and drinking his red wine. And he was like, "You're coming on tour," like that. And I'd filmed with him only once, and I just looked, and I was like, "I'm on tour." Oh my! I was thinking, okay, so I know what am I going to do? And and then he took me on tour. So put me out, and the first show was in Ireland, and it was like a couple of thousand people. Like, what? And I could hear the Tony Stockwell, Colin Fry, like that, and they weren't mentioning me because I was just a guest,
Yeah.
Stage like, what am I doing here? What am I? And but Colin obviously believed it. I mean, Hillary said, if Colin doesn't like you, you're off the show. Yeah. So I was like, oh, fair enough. You've got to be able to work with people, haven't you? Yeah. And the minute we worked together, that was in one of the barracks stories where the young man had been murdered, and they said he'd committed suicide.
Yeah.
And me and Colin were just walking down this towpath, and it was like he was starting a sentence and I was finishing it. And it was so easy because I was scared. I was, you're filming with Colin Fry. What on earth? What are you doing here? But we just clicked, and he has, and I'm not going to say he had, because he has like a really wicked sense of humour, and he's very naughty, and we just laughed. I mean, our relationship was just laughter. That's the memories of him, like naughtiness and laughter, So I hope that's in anyone's like perception of him.
Yeah. So that was the first time you met Colin Fry. You didn't meet him. You didn't know him beforehand.
No. I met him ready to film. So yeah. I'd seen him on stage a couple of times, but I'd never. I was in the audience of the first three mediums, with some of my circle, and I was thinking. I remember sitting there thinking, "My gosh, that's a big stage. Can you imagine?" In my mind, can you imagine doing that? I was not manifesting that, but then three mediums, me, Colin, and Derek. That, and I have to say, I mean, Colin, but I have to say about Derek, he was just so lovely to me, and he was very I don't know, he just, I was nervous, obviously. Three medium, we did the filming, and then we went on tour around the country. So we got like 3,500 4,000 people. It's big. Is 3,500 people, and that's quite a lot of energy coming at you, looking at you, as a medium, that it's like, what's going on? And he just used to say lovely things about me. And we, after the three mediums that was filmed, he was like, he likened me to Doris Stokes, and I thought, I'm not that old yet, I will be one day. But he said, you've got a way about you. He said, you've got a naturalness about you. And he said, and he said, what I like about you is you're not trying to be somebody else. He said, when we meet you backstage, you're the same person on stage. And I agreed with that, and he was just always so supportive. You can do this. And he didn't have to. He didn't have to, him and Colin with the stars. I was like the add-on, but it never made me feel like that. Never.
No. So did you know Tony Stockwell before
So I was one of my students, gosh, I don't even know how long ago now, said she was going to this weekend in Canterbury and with Tony Stockwell, and we'd seen him sort of like, because we're living in Essex Hearts, so we'd seen him, and I think we'd been to one of his events somewhere, and thought, great medium. So she said, let's go on a weekend. So we went on a weekend, and it was like, when you meet someone and you really know that you know them, like you've met them before. And it was like that with me and Tony. And I had my own studio. I was like just doing readings and teaching trance a lot. And he invited me to go at his studio when he started. So I was working a lot with him. So I knew him very, very well, And I was at his wedding, I went to his wedding, both the whole day of his wedding, So so we were, I don't know, it was like meeting when we were filming. I remember us filming in Ireland, and Jojo Dullard, and where we were driving around was the land where we both believe her body has been, hidden. I'm not going to say buried, because she didn't have a burial. And we both, without even speaking, we both knew we needed to leave. We this was not right. We were, and it felt quite dangerous, to be honest, and to the point where I was a little bit reluctant to go back to Ireland for a little while. I mean, I got over it. My Irish ancestry, I have to go there, and the Irish people are beautiful and lovely to me. But that particular day, that particular film, we were definitely connected. So working with Tony was very easy because we've got kind of the same mannerisms sometimes as well. But Colin was just a whole another ball, and so was Del Boy, as I call him, my lovely Derek. It was pretty. It's amazing, isn't it, when you sit and like talk to someone and think about it, because I don't share a lot of the stuff because I just don't think I'm interested. But but when you're having a conversation about it, the things I've done. I mean, I'm going 26 years in October, in October, and I've been lucky, and I've been in magazines. I've been on TV.
Yes.
I've been on Japanese TV as well. That was a bit mad.
Exactly.
I've worked in Japan, New Zealand, all over the world, in America. And and but I never take any of it for granted. I think I just turn up and do things and then afterwards think, oh, what were you doing?
Yeah. And I've got to say, I mean, I could sit here and talk to you for hours and hours and hours, and it's quite clear for everyone to say that there's no ego. There's no ego there. And I think that's what, apart from you being yourself, but I think the fact that you've got no ego there has helped you.
I hope so. Yeah.
To move forward and all the healing that you give as well. But it has been absolutely incredible to spend this time with you. And I do hope that you'll come back and join me again soon.
Love to.
But for anyone that's watching, check out all the links in the description down below. And remember, share, tell your friends, follow TJ on Facebook. Watch for some mentorships coming up. Watch for a spiritualist church near you. Watch for theatres. Wherever you see her, go along, because you will not be disappointed. Can I say thank you very much, TJ, for joining me today. And I'd like to say I wish you the best of luck in the next avenues that you have.
Thank you.
I'll say bye for now.
Bye, Jimmy.
What a journey, from heartfelt beginnings to stand in the spotlight with some of the biggest names in the spiritual world. TJ Higgs reminded us today that the soul's path is never random. It's written in whispers, whether it's helping others find peace, sharing wisdom with the next generation, or simply honouring the voices from beyond. TJ's story is a testament to listening, trusting, and evolving. If her words moved you, inspired you, or sparked your own curiosity, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode, leave a review, leave a comment, subscribe for more soulful conversations. So until next time, keep listening, because wisdom is always whispering.